Level File TR5312. The first anomaly was not that apples began washing ashore on a town with no river. It was that every witness remembered noticing it 3 days before it happened. The Twilight Registry received the file from the county records office after a clerk named Mara Venn refused to archive the death certificates. She said the paper had begun to breathe inside the drawer, not flutter, not shift under a draft. Breathe with the slow patience of something asleep under soil. The town was Gannet Hollow, a place of closed storefronts, wet maples, and porch lights left burning long after the families inside had gone quiet. The incident began with apples began washing ashore on a town with no river. By noon, 7 residents had called dispatch to report the same detail. A sound like fingernails combing the inside of the walls, always moving toward the room where someone kept an old keepsake. Evidence item A was a reel-to-reel tape labeled "Play Only in Rain." It arrived in a padded envelope with no return address, damp at the corners, wrapped in a grocery circular from 1998. The item looked ordinary until photographed. In every image, it appeared farther away than it had been on the table, as though the camera had caught it retreating down a corridor that did not exist. Witness statement, Mara Venn. I opened the envelope because it had my handwriting on it. I do not remember sending it. Inside was a note that said, "Do not let the house learn your name twice." I laughed because that is what people do when a sentence is too wrong to be frightening yet. Then the filing cabinets answered me. One drawer knocked from the inside, another knocked back. The registry interviewer asked Mara what she meant by answered. She said the cabinets used the rhythm of her childhood address. 3 knocks, pause. 2 knocks, pause. 4 knocks. The address of a house demolished before she was born. That night, Deputy Halvorsen performed the first welfare check on Briar Lane. His dash camera shows the road stretching for an impossible length. Mailboxes repeat. The same black dog crosses the headlights 4 times, each time older, each time thinner, until the last crossing is only a hide with paws. At 11:17 p.m., the deputy says, "I can see the porch." At 11:18 p.m., he says, "I have always been on the porch." The audio degrades after that. A woman asks him to remove his badge because metal remembers oaths. Halvorsen replies that no one is there. The woman says, "Then why did you bring so many doors?" Registry analysis found 92 door sounds in the next 11 seconds. Gannet Hollow had a local superstition called keeping the second name. Children were told never to answer if a parent called from a room they had just left. Adults pretended it was a game, one of those rural leftovers used to make children obedient. But the oldest church ledger records another version. When a house settles, it practices the voices of the people inside. If you answer the practice voice, the house is permitted to keep a copy. The escalation began at 2:03 a.m. on a Thursday. Every phone in Gannet Hollow received a voicemail from its own number. The message was different for each recipient, but the final sentence matched, "I am almost good enough to come downstairs." Mara brought the reel-to-reel tape labeled "Play Only in Rain" to the registry field office in a cooler filled with salt. During intake, the lights dimmed and the hallway outside the evidence room lengthened by 9 feet. Security footage shows Agent Rusk walking to the end of that hallway, touching a door that had not been built and whispering his mother's maiden name. He was recovered 6 minutes later from the break room sink, alive, dry, and missing every memory formed inside a home. Under ultraviolet light, the object revealed a sequence of tiny teeth marks, not on its surface, in its shadow. The bites appeared one at a time as the lamp warmed, spelling the names of missing residents in the order their families stopped mentioning them. The registry initiated Protocol Hearthglass. No mirrors, no spoken legal names, no answering voices from unseen rooms, no crossing thresholds alone. The protocol failed when the building's automated voice assistant began reading the agent's birth certificates aloud. It used the voices of people who had died before electricity reached the county. At dawn, Mara confessed she had grown up with an extra bedroom in her house. Her parents called it the guest room, but it contained no bed, only wallpaper printed with hundreds of small doors. Every winter, one door on the wallpaper would be open. Every spring, a neighbor would move away, and no one would remember which house had been theirs. The final field team entered Briar Lane House at 6:40 a.m. Their body cameras show a structure much larger inside than outside. Rooms repeat with minor corrections. A kitchen with a cradle in the oven. A bathroom tiled in baby teeth. A nursery where the motor call turned slowly beneath photographs of adults sleeping in office chairs. Cars, hospital waiting rooms. Each photo is labeled with a first name and the words "almost learned." In the basement, they found the source. Not a creature, but a wall shaped like listening. The plaster flexed with trapped syllables. Thousands of voices moved beneath it, practicing greetings, apologies, prayers, emergency calls. When Agent Rusk placed the reel-to-reel tape labeled "Play Only in Rain" against the wall, the voices became Mara's voice and said, "I kept the first one safe for you." A door opened in the plaster. Behind it was Mara at age 6, sitting at a table in the demolished house, eating cereal that had turned black in the bowl. She looked up and said the adult Mara's full name. The recording ends there, but the case did not. 3 days later, the county records office received completed death certificates for every person who had entered Briar Lane House. The dates were correct. The causes were blank. Each certificate was signed by the house in handwriting matching the victim's own. Unresolved final note. Rain continues to fall inside the sealed evidence locker every October, and the tape has started recording new names. If you receive a call from your own number tonight, let it ring. If someone you love calls from the next room, check where their body is before you answer. And if your house says your name in a voice that is almost kind, leave by a window and do not look back.